Bruce Harris, unfortunately, I can see you. Well, that's what my wife says every single day. I do apologize. I don't know what happened. I'm never going to know what happened. Your host is a moron, but we will continue on. We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this rebel outpost, the home for the true college football sickos with a donation. Hit the dollar sign, and I will get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. John Teal Flag on the podcast play. Now it's 1-15. And I'm not going to pick up the first down. I'm going to get sacked. Illegal procedure. I'm going to quick kick on third down. 3rd and 25. I'm going to line up as a quarterback and I'm going to punt it. And it's going to be a shank. It's going to go 7 yards. And you geniuses are going to have good field position. We're going to talk college football today. The Fighting Illini are optimistic. Now, we're not going to do a spotlight on the Fighting Illini. We are going to do that tomorrow on our Sunday show. But we're going to give you a sneak peek. Brett Bielema. Optimism is running wild. Running wild in navy and orange. Holy smokes. Today's spotlight is on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Maybe there's some optimism going on within the fan base. I'm sure there is. But I don't know. I got some questions. Just like I got look, I wasn't all that kind to the Michigan Wolverines on the last spotlight. I think they're going to win a lot of games. I think they're going to fall short to get to the playoffs again. Primarily because I don't think Bryce Underwood, I think I'm going to become a believer in Bryce Underwood. But as a true freshman, I do not see this, who is he going to lean on that offense? What is that junior, that senior, the guy who's got a lot of production on the offense, the skill positions? Who is he going to lean on? Donovan McCulley? I don't know. I mean, I just don't see it. Michigan is going to be awfully good. They're going to win a lot of games, but I think they're going to come up short. Oklahoma State, great fan base. Great fan base. Now, last year, I got dragged over the coals by the Cowboy fan base because I had Oklahoma State coming in 8th or 9th in the conference. I was wrong. Oklahoma State went 0-9 Big 12 conference play. Boy, Mike Gundy, I did a live show about 3 weeks ago about Joey McGuire, the Texas Tech Red Raider coach. He's going to be on the hot seat if Texas Tech is not challenging for the Big 12 championship. In other words, with 2 weeks to go, the Red Raiders need to be in a position to qualify to get in the Big 12 championship game. That has got to be their floor. I don't think they necessarily have to get to the Big 12 championship game this year, the Red Raiders. But they got to be challenging to get there, right? Am I wrong? Well, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, I think Mike Gundy is going to be on the hot seat week 5, week 4. I've got a lot of questions. I've got a lot of questions for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Is it time? Is it time for there to be a new voice in Stillwater? Or can Mike Gundy pull the rabbit out of the old hat and have Oklahoma State back this year? Now, I get it. Hey, Greg. Hey, Greg the Cooler. Didn't you have Arizona State at near the bottom of the Big 12 last year? Yes, I did. You are correct. But I also said I do like Sam Leavitt. I loved what he looked like at Michigan State. I do not know why he wasn't playing, why he wasn't QB1, why he always had to come off the bench. The best move that Sam Leavitt, oh man, him getting in the portal and going to play for Dillingham, holy smokes. That was a career-saving and career-defining moment for Sam Leavitt. But Oklahoma State Cowboys, you got a quarterback competition that is going on. Flores and Haney. Now, maybe one of them is going to pop. Maybe one of them is going to be sensational. Maybe Haas Haney is going to be the real deal Holyfield. Maybe. But the question I have is, even if he does become the real deal Holyfield in his redshirt freshman season, Rodney Fields, big question mark. The whole wide receiver room, big question mark. You lost 4 of your 5 starting offensive linemen, big question marks. Sam Jackson. He's not even going to be part of the spotlight. He's not even going to be part of the spotlight. But he's a backup wide receiver. Sam Jackson out of the state of Illinois. Wow, what a long road you have gone through. My goodness. Sam Jackson was a receiver, then a quarterback in his senior season. He's got incredible amount of athletic ability. He committed to the Gophers. Then he uncommitted. Then he committed to Purdue, I think. And then he uncommitted. And then he committed to the Gophers. And he committed and uncommitted to the Gophers 2 times. He never... I don't even know where he ended up. I don't even remember. He's committed and uncommitted. He has played at so many different teams. He's the bat. Finally he has listened, and he gave up his quarterback dreams, and now he's going to try to make it as a wide receiver finally, which he should have did right out of the gate. Which is one of the reasons why he uncommitted to the Gophers, because PJ Fleck says, you are a wide receiver, you're not a quarterback. And Sam Jackson says, I'm a quarterback. Can he finally, is the light switch going to come on? We'll see. For the Oklahoma State Cowboys. We're going to go through it. We're going to go through the schedule. Mike Gundy, I think he's going to be on the hot seat. Look, the Oklahoma State Cowboy fans are a proud fan base. They love their football. And what they're watching, what they're witnessing is the Iowa State Cyclones becoming a formidable football program under Matt Campbell. The stability at Ames, Iowa. I know there's always stories that Matt Campbell is going there or here, but he stayed there. And look what Iowa State Cyclone football is versus what they were 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25, 30. Look what Iowa State has become. The reemergence of the Kansas State Wildcats. They're going to be battling for Big 12 championship this year. No question about it. Then you got Baylor and TCU. They both slipped a little bit. TCU slipped a little bit after getting to the national championship game, but now they recovered. They did not fall down. If they did, they got back up. Baylor was slipping and sliding, but now they're back up on their feet. Possibly the inclusion of Arizona State, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, that West Coast edition to the Big 12, that may have hurt Oklahoma State. What I'm saying is Oklahoma State swims in the same lakes as Kansas State, Iowa State, Baylor, TCU. And it looks like the Cowboys might have gotten behind. Now, for every win in the Big 12, there is a loss, right? Pure mathematics. Even a moron, even a mathematical moron like me understands that. So, some schools emerge, some schools are going to have to fall behind, and I think that's where the Oklahoma State Cowboys are today. Can Mike Gundy, he's had so much success. Mike, look at his record, not last year, but look at Mike Gundy's record. He's had so much success in Stillwater. Can he turn it around? Can he save his job? Or does Oklahoma State proud Cowboy fans, the players, the whole program, the whole university, the boosters, do they need to hear a different voice? Does Oklahoma State need new leadership? Put it down in the comments. Give me a phone call later on. The spotlight team today is the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And we're also going to be talking about the elbows are being thrown. The elbows are being thrown. I love it. We are getting closer and closer to week 0 and week 1. Thomas Castellanos, we covered the story when he basically, I'm going to paraphrase it here. He was so strong in his statement, basically telling everybody, bring it on, bring it on. Like, I destroyed the ACC on my own when I was the quarterback of Boston College. Now that I got some talent around me, Bama don't got a shot. That's what he basically said. Now we've got a former quarterback of Alabama saying, and I'm paraphrasing, are you stupid? You're going to say what you said? You're going to play Alabama? Are you stupid? That's what A.J. McCarron, the quarterback of Bama, is basically asking. The elbows are being thrown. And we're still weeks away. Florida State and Alabama, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And when you give us your phone calls after the monologue, you can talk about anything in college football that your heart desires. Before we get into the optimism of Illinois, before we get into the spotlight of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and before we get to the elbows being thrown between Bama and Florida State, I just want to go back to the whole Texas Tech story of yesterday. We did a live show here at Peek Around the Corner. We said, is it a good deal? Is it a bad deal? And I brought up a whole bunch of different options on how to look at the deal. It sounds like we didn't even have the full information when we did the live show. Maybe it's not fully guaranteed. The rev share numbers for Felix Ojo, 1.2 million, 1.6, 2.1 million. Maybe it's more like 775,000 a year. When I did that live show, I said I do not have an opinion on it. I said that a number of times. Why? I brought up all the reasons why. Number one, we do not know the full details of the numbers. Number two, we don't know what the other teams offered. Maybe it was the fully guaranteed part of it that made Felix Ojo say, this Texas Tech deal is a good deal. Maybe it's a great deal for Texas Tech because they front loaded their NIL contracts so heavily before the clearinghouse became real that maybe this, whatever they're giving Felix Ojo, fits nicely into the rev share part of their O-line budget for the next 3 years. There's so many different variables that I do not have the information of. So I did not have a strong opinion on it either way. But I brought it up. I thought we should talk about it. I wish all these contracts were public, but they're not. 99.99% of them are not going to be public. I wish they were, because as a content provider of college football on a YouTube channel, I would absolutely love for all this to be public. And then we can make a better judgment opinion on whether it's a good deal or not. And I also said, even if the Red Raiders overpaid for Felix Ojo, I think every team is going to have an overpayment. Especially the non-blue bloods, which are 90% of us. These programs are going to reach for somebody that they think they can get because of some connection, be it family or be it location, be it where this young man grew up, whatever that binds a middling program, which again is 90% of us. If you've got a shot, they get a potential guy who can change your program, you're going to overshoot. You're going to go over the top. You're going to overpay. You're going to give them, that person, more percentage of your rev share. And some programs are going to look at it and say that's an overpay. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. For that particular program. So, anyways, I wanted to go through that once again. I had no strong opinion either way. Now, I do have a strong opinion on the following, and then we're going to go to into our program. I do have a strong opinion on something, and I seem to be the minority, which is fine. Simply state, follow the damn rules. You've all seen me go on my soapbox before. I'm going to go on it for a couple of minutes. Follow the damn rules. No, this has nothing to do with Texas Tech. This has to do with everybody. Texas Tech is probably following the rules. I got no problem with the Red Raiders. I got no problem with anybody, to be honest. We don't know diddly squat here at Peek Around the Corner on some school may not have submitted all their NIL deals. Rumors are going to be flying. We don't know nothing. You've got a rev share cap of $20.5 million. Most of the Autonomy 4 schools are going to be spending about $13 to $16 million in rev share to the football players. You know what's going to happen? 99.99% of the time, these schools are going to follow the rules. They got to submit every rev share contract to the Sports Commission. The Big Ten is submitting all the contracts to the Sports Commission, not the individual schools. The Big Ten is being the gatekeeper for the Big Ten institutions to make sure they follow the rules. Schools are going to be following the rules. 99% of the rules are going to be followed in terms of NIL. Your submission gets denied, oh well, resubmit it, tweak it, change it. If it gets okayed, fine. There's going to be a lot of big NIL deals. They're not going away. They should not go away. But deals that outstrip the NBA, the NFL in particular, NIL deals, the one that go way beyond, they're going to get denied. And they should. And you know why? Because your school voted for it. Everybody in the chat room, your school opted in. Every Autonomy 4 school said, yes, we will abide by the rules. You don't like how those rules were created? Number one, your school was involved with the creation. Every FBS conference had meetings for months to create the Sports Commission. Every school was involved when it came to the money, the $20.5 million, and how we got to that rev share. Along with the lawyers of Mr. House, the swimmer, his lawyers, they had everybody under the thumb. The deal had to be made. It was made. Now, if you don't like how the rules were created, let the courts deal with that. If people want to sue, they're going to sue. And some of them are going to be successful. This thing has to be codified, or it's got to go to a CBA, or maybe a little bit of both. But until then, follow the rules. I've got no sympathy for those who don't follow I got no sympathy for those who say, I don't like how this rules were created. Greg, this ain't going to work. There's going to be bags of money going to these student athletes. Maybe bags of money are going to go to the athletes. And when somebody gets caught, your school is going to get thumped. And these schools know it. Do you know under a CBA, I'm pro CBA, but people are treating a CBA like it's a magical mystery tour, the Beatles, like it's some sort of, it cleanses everybody of their sins. A CBA makes everything work, and anything that isn't a CBA should not work. Under a collective bargaining agreement, you've got rules. You've got to follow the rules. Under a collective bargaining agreement in the NFL, you cannot, as a professional athlete, take inducements. You've got your contract. You got your player contract. You've got your NIL contract with a commercial entity. Fine. But under the NFL, in a cap formation, which is formed by a collective bargaining, you cannot agree to a 2-year, $10 million contract and then on the side get $300,000 from somebody who's connected to that NFL franchise. That's against the rules. There are rules everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. There are rules inside the Big Ten. There are rules in the SEC. There are rules in the Big 12. There are rules in the ACC. And none of that was created by a collective bargaining agreement. Your school, when you join that conference, agree to follow the damn rules. So I don't have much patience anymore about those who say, well, these rules were not created in the way that are going to work, so we're not going to follow them. We should not follow them. That don't work for me, brother. Your school signed on the dotted line. Your school is going to get thumped if and when the sports commission can pin it on you, brother, that you cheated. That's the way it is, guys. It ain't cool. Now, all these rules might get eliminated by the courts. Let the courts handle that. Or they might not all get eliminated. Maybe some of these judges are going to look at all the work that's been done with this settlement and say, you know what? It's okay that these autonomy for conferences rule on eligibility. Maybe the power conferences maybe they should be able to rule on the one transfer portal. I don't know. We don't know. But until then, follow the damn rules. Now, we're going to do a quick roll call, and then we're going to get into our program. John Teal, Florida State quarterback, will try to apologize, and Bama will have none of it. They're going to give them the sweet chin music like Shawn Michaels did to Marty Jannetty's. Thank you, John Teal. I appreciate the super chat. I am a Bret Hart guy. I'm not a Shawn Michaels guy, but thank you so much, John Teal. Thank you for your generosity. I'm just saying, Don Scruggs, Greg's getting heated up. I hope and pray that the Minnesota Golden Gophers are the first ones that get caught cheating. I hope. I know that sounds awful because I'm a Golden Gopher fan. But if they get caught cheating, if the sports commission comes down on them, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come out here and I'm going to say, shame on Minnesota. Take the penalty, dust yourself off, and come back again. That's it. Simple. You cheated. Pay the penalty. There's not going to be a death penalty. People are going to cheat unknowingly. Some people are going to cheat. No, look, these schools are so scared of some big money booster doing something outside of their athletic department. They're telling their boosters everything comes inside. Every deal that is made has to come inside, and we're going to help the student athlete submit it to the clearinghouse. All these schools are doing the same thing. They don't want to cheat. They want to follow the rules. All of them. There's going to be some booster out there that's going to think we're back into 2005, 1997. We're not. Okay. Roll call. I missed some super chats here. Got that one. Curtis Craig, the Dairy Cows cheese attack. Lock your doors. Thank you, Curtis. Mr. Wolverine, I appreciate the super chat so very much. Okay, we're good to go. We are good to go. Vox Guandaro is in the house. Mr. Monkey says Richard Brookins, J-Rod is in the house. Sean Brackett, Richard Brookins, Otto Raider, the Devil Frog, Rod Nix, Jason Spangler, the Seminole Morris Simmons is in the house. AMAC, the Big Gun Shop, Jeff Morgan, Stormy Cyclone, Stephen Clark. Thank you, Stormy, for the super chat. for your generosity on the previous program that I had to delete because I don't know what the hell happened inside the studio. Thank you, Stormy. I appreciate it so very much. Still Austin, Charisse Armistead is in the house. I think Oklahoma State could win at least 8 or 9 games this year. The proud Oklahoma State Cowboy. The proud Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Oh my God!
They're not gonna give up. We're not worried about Tech following the rules. I think they most likely they have. Most likely they have. Edward the Auburn Tiger is in the house. Expansion Crush. I think Greg is a motorcycle guy too. I'm not a motorcycle. I used to be a tricycle guy back in the day, 56 years ago, but no, not a motorcycle guy. No. God, that would be a horrible sight. The players didn't opt in. No representation. Fine. Go sue the hell out of everything. Until then, follow the rules. Your school signed on the dotted line. Your school opted into the settlement because they did not want to pay a $20 billion back pay fine. They wanted to pay $2.8 billion. Let the courts handle it. Until then, follow the rules. Because whatever system you all want to create, whatever this utopia is, under utopian system, you got to follow the rules. Your school is going to have to follow some damn rules. MBM just made it. What's the scuffle? What's the scuttle? I'm sorry. Thanks for coming on in, MBM. Appreciate it. Johnson Roberts is in. Bubba Bryant is in. Al Woody is here. Okay, I missed a lot of people. Numbskull News is in the house. I apologize. I missed a lot of people. Thomas Cassianos is going to put Alabama in the sharpshooter leg lock. We'll see. Michigan will get caught. Minnesota will get punished. Breeze in Georgia. Utopia doesn't exist. Will never exist. MBM, I need a quick summary of the first half of the show. Break it down in dumb terms for me, please. Okay, thank you for the super chat, MBM. I appreciate your incredible generosity. Number one, we haven't done anything yet because the fat guy from Minnesota is just rambling. You haven't missed anything. 99% of the people in the chat wish they would have come late to the show. That's about as good as I can do for a summary. First half is called the black screen. First half didn't even work. You've missed nothing, MBM. And when you watch the entire show, you're still... Oh, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say if you missed the entire show, you would have missed nothing. Okay, bloviation. That's what you've missed. Let's first talk about Illinois. And then we're going to talk the spotlight team, MBM's Oklahoma State Cowboys. And then we'll discuss the elbows being thrown. MBM, thank you so much for your incredible generosity once again. We are going to talk about your Cowboys. I got a lot of questions about the Cowboys this year. A lot of questions. Illinois wants to be this year's Indiana. Can Brett Bielema ride the Big Ten sleeper status to the college football playoffs? Scott Dochterman from The Athletic. The spotlight team tomorrow is going to be the Fighting Illini of Illinois. So that is why we are doing this today. Sneak preview. When Bielema stops at a gas station, whether it's Champaign, Urbana, or elsewhere in central Illinois, he conducts a little test. On recruiting trips as an assistant at Wisconsin, Bielema learned from Barry Alvarez to watch offensive linemen move while stacking groceries to see what other they could block for the Badgers. At Illinois, Bielema applies the instinctual lessons of his Hall of Fame coaching mentor to gauge fan interest. When they're losing, he gets ignored at the convenience stores, but that's not happening these days. I just turned it into a gas station, like what happens at the gas station, Bielema said. People come up to me and say, Coach, I'm so excited about what you're doing. I take my daughters to school. I'll walk through the hallway. I see a million Illinois sweatshirts on and t-shirts. I just don't think it was that way 2 or 3 years ago. Illinois football is cool again. And the conversations at gas stations and elementary schools throughout I-74 corridor revolve as much around the football Illini as their more historically successful basketball brethren. You see the impact that it has on the community like this, who hadn't experienced a whole lot of W's. Illinois quarterback Luke Altmaier said, to see what we created and did last year with a historic season, and to see the way that has brought a community together and really united fans, our program, it's cool to see a lot of happy people. With 16 returning starters and a favorable schedule, Illinois deserves more buzz than a patronizing cap tip to 2024. 4 of the Illini's 5 starting offensive linemen started all 13 games last year. 4 of their 5 first-team defensive backs started at least 12 games. If the helmets and jerseys featured a different logo and color patterns, Illinois might be the favored to win the 18-team Big Ten. Holy smokes. As it stands, the Illini have a legitimate path to enter the college football playoff debate. Some people may scoff, considering Illinois' reputation as a perennial underachiever. But Indiana showed everyone last year that it's possible to jump from the Big Ten bottom feeder to college football playoff participant. A new coach, an influx of financial resources, shrewd transfer portal moves, and an advantageous schedule led to a special season for the program with the worst winning percentage in Big Ten history. Illinois is building off a much stronger foundation now than Indiana did last year. But the Illini lack the element of surprise. I don't think it does anything but help football, right? Bielema said about Indiana's on-field breakthrough. There's never been a time where each year is independently different no matter what school you're at, because of the playing field that's being established through the NIL and portal world. You could change your roster on a flip of a hat, and that excites me. Left tackle J.C. Davis received an extra year when a court ruled in December that junior college experience did not count toward NCAA eligibility. Instead of staying in Florida after the Citrus Bowl to train for the draft, Davis chose another season in Champaign. They got their left tackle back, J.C. Davis. I didn't want to leave Illinois, no matter what, Davis said. It was either go to the league or stay here. I wasn't thinking about leaving Illinois because I feel like they did so much for me and my family too. I felt like I owed them that. Same thing with their edge rusher, Same thing with their Big Ten, all Big Ten cornerback. They all postponed their NFL careers. Illinois' Icon Collective has become pivotal in the program's retention efforts, and it counts several Central Illinois and Chicagoland businesses as key sponsors. Illini basketball popularity could create friction as both programs compete for top talent, but that wasn't a problem this offseason. Outside of losing rotational running back Josh McCray to the Georgia Bulldogs this spring, Illinois maintained its football roster. Altmaier had options after last season. Whether that's moving on to the NFL or transferring for more money, ultimately he decided Illinois offered the right opportunity for a special season. Luke Altmaier, what we could really accomplish coming off last year to this year could really change the course of this program and the perspective that people have on Illinois, Altmaier said. So it was bigger than me. It really is. And I knew that I needed another year of college too. There's no secret, Luke Altmaier. There's no secret that I could have taken another opportunity somewhere else. But man, I didn't see the need in that because we've got a real legitimate shot and a chance to do something special at a program that hadn't done it ever or in a long time. To go along with the solid roster, Illinois has the perfect schedule to make a Big Ten run. The Illini's 9 Big Ten opponents were a combined 33-48 in league play in 2024. In only 2, Indiana, Ohio State sported winning league records. For the second consecutive season, they played defending national champion in Champaign. This time, it's the Buckeyes. Last year, Illinois got Michigan in. They beat Michigan in Champaign. Everything is lining up for the Illini to make a move, but now they have to take advantage. Bielema said the outside world views Illinois as a contender is based on wins against Michigan and South Carolina in the bowl game. He instead is wired to think about last year's losses to Oregon, Penn State, and the beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers. The mission is to reach the Big Ten championship game, which would all but guarantee the Illini a college football playoff spot. For now, Bielema balances focus on daily program goals with external optimism through conversations with fans wearing the black eye. But keeping that dialogue alive takes ongoing work, like the never-ending rows of orange construction cones along I-74. And finally, in the article, Scott Dochterman, The Athletic. If you try to think beyond that, you'll never get there, Bielema said. It's kind of like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You've got to believe it exists. But if you go to try to find it, you'll never enjoy the journey. We've got to focus on the daily journey because that's the only thing I know, proven in my mind, that gets us where we need to be. Bret Bielema. The regular season, this schedule, we're going to go over this tomorrow as we do the spotlight on the Fighting Illini. The conference schedule is, they begin the conference schedule at Indiana. So that's a big game, right? I mean, on September 20th at Indiana. Then at home against USC. On the road to Purdue, which is a good sandwich game between USC and Ohio State. The second half of that schedule is doable. Washington, Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern. What does Illinois do at the beginning of the season? We're going to learn a lot about the Fighting Illini when they go against Darren Mensah and the Duke Blue Devils Saturday, September 6th. We're going to learn a lot about Illinois on that game. So there it is. That is a sneak preview to our Illinois Spotlight for tomorrow. But today's Spotlight team is your Oklahoma State Cowboys. Speaking of Oklahoma State Cowboy, MBM with a monster super chat. My goodness. Greg, I missed nothing. I'm still celebrating yesterday. USA. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Thank you, MBM. Thank you for your incredible super chat. Wow. I'm very, very humbled that you would support our program in that way. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on. Thank you for, all that support that drives us, that keeps us going every single day here at Peek Around the Corner. MBM, thank you so much, kind sir. Thank you. I'm very humbled. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. But now we got to talk about your Cowboys. And I got a lot of questions. Starting at quarterback. Haas Haney. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Cowboys. Let's talk about it. Thanks for coming on in, Wet Blanket. Go Pokes. Appreciate it. Haas Haney. Last year played a few games, didn't throw a pass. Basically ran like a type of wildcat for the few games that he was in. Haas Haney was a high school track star. He's a bona fide top elite athlete. I think his measurables have him at about 6 feet. 6 feet maybe. Transferred TCU, Oklahoma State. He wants to play. He wasn't going to play ahead of Josh Hoover, who has really emerged as a top Big 12 quarterback, one of the best ones in the conference. Haas Haney, now is he going to get, it sounds like Haas Haney is going to be QB1. But let me know if it's going to be Zane Flores. We got him listed here too. This is a true, the last I heard, this is a true quarterback battle with Haney with the slight edge. Now let me know, Pokes, in the chat room, if that's the case. Zany Flores is a redshirt freshman. Haas Haney is a redshirt freshman. Neither of them have attempted a throw in college football. Who is it going to be? Flores is more the pocket guy. Haney is going to do a lot with his legs. The running back position. Rodney Fields. Redshirt. He was a true freshman I think he was a true freshman last year. I believe he was a true freshman last year. 99 yards, 4.7 yards per rush. You know, he was behind the great Ollie Gordon. 1 rushing TD, 2 receptions. I believe he's going to be a numbskull news. Haas equals Tebow. Tebow is a big guy, big physical guy. Haas isn't all that big. But he's going to run it. He's going to look. Utah Utes got Devin Dampier. Oklahoma State's got Haas Haney. Both of them are going to lead with their legs, most likely. We know Devin Dampier is going to lead with his legs. Maybe Oklahoma State Cowboys basically are going to be, maybe they're going to be the same type of offense Utah Utes are going to be. Now the problem is Utah Utes have 2 offensive linemen who are both going to be drafted in the first or second round of the NFL draft in 2026. Oklahoma State offensive line, they're replacing 4 of the 5 starters. Now, some Cowboys might say, well, that's a good thing. It's a good thing that we are replacing our offensive line. MBM, Utah and Oklahoma State would be a great second rivalry beyond the Holy War. I agree. Rodney Fields. So we don't know a lot. Obviously, I think on 247, he was a 4-star. On the other recruiting sites, he was a high 3-star. If I remember correctly, when I did my research. Trent Howland is the senior backup running back for the Cowboys. He has been to a few places. Now, the receiving room is not a whole lot of production coming back. I mean, not a whole lot of proven production coming back. You've got Josh Ford at tight end. 10 catches, 92 yards, 9.2 average, 1 receiving touchdown. Like, he is the one regular guy who's coming back to the offense that played at Oklahoma State that's actually going to play. Talon Shetron, I don't know. He suffered a torn ACL. A guy who, in the spring, who Oklahoma State thought was going to be their leading receiver. So Josh Ford, I mean, they've got Shamar Rigby, Gavin Freeman. They got a whole bunch of transfers, but not a whole lot of returning production on the offensive side of the ball. Now, the one guy that's been around, Cam Smith, cornerback. The leader, he's a senior. Last year, 25 solo tackles, 34 combo tackles, 7 pass defenses, 1 interception. I mentioned this earlier. And I'm interested to see what MBM has to say, or any other Cowboy in there. Sam Jackson. What is the word on Sam Jackson? Backup wide receiver. He's He was a freak athlete. This was like 5 or 6 years ago in the state of Illinois. He wanted to be a quarterback. He committed and uncommitted. He committed and uncommitted to Minnesota twice. He committed and uncommitted to 2 other teams. He's been to a few places. And now, as a senior year, it looks like he's finally decided that the wide receiver position is where he needs to be. No more quarterback dreams. He's a freak athlete. Absolute freak athlete. Is there any buzz on Sam Jackson? Is he going to be able to get in there? The Oklahoma State Cowboys schedule. Tennessee Martin to begin the season. Then on the road to Oregon. Don't let Oregon beat you twice. At home against Tulsa. That's a needed victory. Then that home game against Baylor. I think that's the swing and gate game right off the bat. If they lose that game, Mike Gundy is going to be on the hot seat. And I think you guys, you all know I got Baylor in the Big 12 championship game with Arizona State. But for me, that is the game for Mike Gundy. That's the game for Oklahoma State. If you can beat the Baylor Bears, Sorry Robertson, Mr. Washington, if you beat the Bears at home on September 27th, the first Big 12 game of the season, when Oklahoma State went 0-9 last year in the Big 12, now you might be cooking with some gas. You go on the road to Arizona, very winnable game. Then you're at home against Houston, Cincinnati. The middle of that schedule, Oklahoma State Cowboys can make something up there. But you got to beat Baylor at home, in my opinion. Because the first 4 games, highly likely a blowout loss in Oregon. And if you lose at home against Baylor, then you got to go on the road. The wheels, I think, are going to fall off. You play on the road, Texas Tech, on the road to Kansas, at home against Kansas State. That is the toughest stretch in your Big 12 conference schedule. Red Raiders, Jayhawks, Wildcats. Although you do have a bye week between the Kansas and Kansas State game. You finish it up on the road, UCF, at home against Iowa State. Great tea leaves. They can easily go 5 or 7 or even worse. MBM, we are upsetting Oregon in week 2. Book it. Wow, if you do that, MBM, all bets are off, and I'll probably return back, or not return back. I stay as Greg the Cooler. But this year, MBM, this year we all know. We all know that this year is the year for Greg the Gold. And wherever I pick Oklahoma State in the official predictions coming in August, that is where the Oklahoma State Cowboys are going to finish. Am I going to have Oklahoma State in the bottom half? Like I did last year, by the way, when I got raked over the coals by the Cowboy fans. But what am I going to do this year? Am I a believer? Am I a believer in this man? Haas Haney? It's got to be about Haas Haney. You guys know I did not like the quarterback last year at Oklahoma State. They had other issues, but I did not like that 7-year ball. I did not like him at all. I did not like his characteristics. I did not like his intangibles. But Haas Haney with a black cowboy hat, watch his highlights in high school. He was a big-time star running. He looked like he could throw the ball. Now, I did see no one liked Bowman. Yeah, I did not like Bowman at all. That's why I had Oklahoma State finishing 9th or 10th in the conference. They did worse than that, but this guy, I mean, you know, look. Whoops, hold on. We got a production issue. Okay, look, I've watched, Zane Flores doesn't do it for me. I watched his tape as well. But Haas Haney is a wild card. If you read his report, I've read his reports too. And TCU fans, Numbskull News can add in on this. It does seem like he has to load up on tougher throws, right? Going across the field, 20-yard out. He has to grip it and rip it. He has to load up. So there is some issues. But the kid is a freak athlete. And I know he hasn't thrown a football. But sometimes, I said it yesterday. I think it was yesterday's show. Even if you haven't played a lick or barely played at all, I have a lot more confidence that a redshirt freshman is going to get closer to his ceiling than a true freshman in that particular year. So whatever Haney's going to be able to do, I think that he played a year at TCU. Now he transferred. He went through college classes. He trained. He learned some college offense. Oklahoma State saw his tape. Oklahoma State went after him in the portal. Haney saw the opportunity, went to Stillwater, going to play with Mike Gundy. All that seems sort of like maybe this is the right spot for the kid. Maybe this is going to end up being the right guy for Oklahoma State. You're going to need a guy with legs. Because that wide receiver room, there might be some guys that are going to pop, but not a whole lot of return in production. But I know, look, I don't think we can just say because the guy hasn't played, because he hasn't. I mean, the Golden Gophers, my beloved Golden Gophers, got a redshirt freshman quarterback who threw a couple passes against Rhode Island last year. And the Minnesota coaches are absolutely in love with them. They're bringing him to Big Ten Media Days. He's going to represent Minnesota along with Darius Taylor, and Corey Perch, a couple big studs, because they believe it. So maybe the Cowboys believe in Haas Haney. Maybe he is going to be, dare I say it. Now, when I say this, MBM and a lot of people are going to get mad at me. A lot of people are going to get mad at me when I say this. But maybe Haas Haney is the Oklahoma State Cowboy, Johnny Manziel. I don't know if you remember this, but Johnny Manziel he did not come in and start. He came in too small. His measurables weren't there. Everybody knew he had legs. Everybody knew that he had to grip it and rip it when he first started being a quarterback. Could in a bad way. I don't mean Johnny Manziel off the field. I mean on the field. I mean on the field, like he's got moxie. Go watch his high school tapes. The kid is tough. He takes a beating. He's got an attitude. Guys, relax. Everybody's turning off their phone. Everybody's turning off their TV set. I'm saying that Haas Haney, he might be Oklahoma State's Cowboys' Johnny Manziel. Exactly what they need at the right time under the right coach, with an offensive line that is no way proven, with a wide receiver group that's no way proven, a couple of running backs that you think you can give them the ball, Haas Haney running a three, who knows, could be the wishbone, the option. All types of running offenses under Haas Haney. Oklahoma State and Utah. Now, Utah don't play Oklahoma State this year. But there's going to be some running teams in the Big 12 this year. It ain't going to be all pass happy. It's not going to be all pass happy. I don't think it's going to be all pass happy even under Rich Rod at West Virginia, even though that is his calling card. I think they're going to run it a lot. Utah is going to run it a lot. Oklahoma State is going to run it a lot. Bryson Washington is going to get a whole hell of a lot of carries at Baylor. I think Dylan Edwards and Avery Johnson are going to run at Kansas State. I think the Big 12, now there's a few. I mean, BYU is probably going to have to run it a lot. I think the Big 12 might be a running football conference this year. Put down your comments and thoughts. Let me know how wrong I got it. Once again, the Evil Badger, run that ball. Run that ball. That has been your Oklahoma State Spotlight. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, let me get to something here. TCU, Ohio State for the Big 12 championship this year. MBM is on a roll. MBM.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
He's got that orange Kool-Aid. He's got a big picture of it. He's dumped it over his head and he's lighting a match. MBM, Oklahoma State Cowboy in the PATC family. Okay. Hold on, everybody. I've done a horrible job. My producer has done a horrible job. I don't have this ready. Here we go. I just want to bring this up. Mike Farrell Sports brings up what AJ McCarron said about Thomas Castellanos. Now, if you missed it, a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, I don't remember, Florida State quarterback, the transfer from Boston College, Thomas Castellanos, went off on everybody. Went on, like he said, I'm the guy that ripped through the ACC. And I didn't really have any help from Boston College. Now that I'm the quarterback of Florida State and I see the talent around me, nobody's got a shot at me. I'm paraphrasing, but just a little bit. Just a little bit. You know, he was taking shots at Bama. He was taking shots at everybody. I want you to see what A.J. McCarron, former Alabama quarterback, says to Thomas Castellanos. Keep your mouth shut. Thomas, this is Mark Pazanek. Again, we're taking this from Mike Farrell Sports. I follow him on X. Thomas Castellanos, quarterback Florida State, has been extremely outspoken since his transfer from Boston College to Florida State. And it has rubbed many people the wrong way. You can add former Alabama quarterback A.J. McCarron to this growing list. As one of the hosts of Dynasty Podcast, McCarron, who was with the Tide, Alabama from 2009 to 2013, was also extremely outspoken regarding the new Florida State quarterback. Castellanos' recent comments regarding Alabama and the upcoming season opener between the Seminoles and the Tide rubbed McCarron the wrong way. A.J. McCarron. Hey, Thomas, you might want to stay quiet on this one. Just go out and play. Now you just added fuel to the fire, brother. I promise you, I wouldn't want to be you. I promise you, I wouldn't want to be you first game of the year. I don't care how well you can run or how well you can throw it. Once you stand in that pocket and get a hit a couple of times, that accuracy, that dip that cost you the starting job, you better find it quick this offseason and during this game, because it's not going to be fun. Now, A.J. McCarron brought up in these comments, hey, Thomas Castellanos, you got benched last season at Boston College. He's reminding everybody that McCarron says once you stand in that pocket and get hit a couple of times, that accuracy, that dipped, that cost you the starting job last year at Boston College, you better find it quick this season, this offseason, and during this game, because it's not going to be fun. McCarron was quick to point out that Castellanos is arriving at a difficult situation in Tallahassee after a disappointing season at Boston College. This is A.J. McCarron to Thomas Castellanos. You're going to a team that was 17th out of 17 teams in the ACC, said McCarron. You're leaving a team and lost the starting job when you finished 9th in the ACC. Listen, I'm all for confidence, but this is stupidity. Just ask if he still has relationship, which I doubt, since he yanked him from the starting job, Bill O'Brien. Call him up. Ask Bill how Alabama is, what type of players they have, how they play the game. Let him tell you. He concluded, A.J. McCarron, he concluded his assault on Castellanos by predicting another possible transfer. A.J. McCarron, if you're a guy like Thomas, keep your mouth shut. Go to work and let your play do the talking, McCarron said. But now you've done ran your mouth. And you better back it up in the game or you're going to hear about it all year. And you might lose your job again and have to enter the transfer portal once again. Only time will tell how Castellanos will perform in 25, but everyone should thank him for injecting some serious juice into the Florida State-Alabama season opener. Holy smokes. My goodness. The elbows are being thrown. The elbows are being thrown. This is the line, and the numbers have not changed. Alabama at Florida State, the Crimson Tide are favored by 12.5. Thomas Castellanos, I love the confidence too, but you don't have to say everything you said out loud like that. I mean, you gave so much bulletin board material to Alabama. A.J. McCarron, a lot of people are bringing it up in Alabama. Now, if you're going to get hit, they're going to hit you. Bama's going to hit you, and they're going to put a little extra into it. You put more pressure on yourself. You put more pressure on the Florida State Seminole players, your teammates. I like the confidence, but I think Thomas went way overboard. But what I did not like, the serious part that I did not like from Thomas Castellanos, and I'm a fan of his. He's a good football player. He is. He's not going to be an NFL. I don't think he can be an NFL quarterback. But he's a tough kid. Again, we were just talking about Haas Haney. Thomas Castellanos is somebody that Haas Haney would like to become. That level of quarterback. Thomas Castellanos is a good football player. But the part that I did not like, that actually scares me a little bit about his season coming up in Tallahassee. Thomas Castellanos, what he said about his former teammates at Boston College, no football player should do, but particularly no quarterback should ever do. He threw them under the bus. Thomas Castellanos threw Boston College Eagle players under the bus and ran them over a couple of times. Should not have done that. There is a way to say your piece without going there. Because as the quarterback, you're the leader. What are you going to say after the Alabama game? If Alabama does roll over the Seminoles, what are you going to say post-game? Are you going to take your lumps? Are you going to say, okay, yeah, we got beat. We're going to get it back up together next week? Or are you going to throw players under the bus, your own teammates? That's what I did not like. It showed me a lack of maturity. When Thomas Castellanos, after everything that he's gone through, should have maturity. Put down in the comments. Let me know how wrong I got it once again. Alabama, Florida State. Florida State's going to be better than they were last year. They got Tony White, great defensive coordinator. Mike Norvell has made some good hires. They got some good football players. The Seminoles, we're going to do a spotlight on the Seminoles. They're going to win some football games this year. Who knows? Maybe they contend for the ACC championship. I don't got them doing that, but a lot of optimism in Tallahassee. But I think Thomas Castellanos, man, I don't think he did anybody any favors at Florida State when he said what he said a couple of weeks ago. Okay. Let's get to your phone calls. Give me a call. Talk about anything in college football that your heart desires. 763-260-1333. Now, just to get, I tested the phones before I came on live. They worked. But then we had to shut this whole thing down because for whatever reason, the camera wasn't working. So then when I brought everything back up and we started again, I did not test the phones. So hopefully the phones work. Hopefully it works. I agree with Curtis. Bama, Spangler, Florida State plus 12.5 is the pick. Alabama is only going down. Ooh. Morris Simmons. I like a confident quarterback, but Doak is not an easy place to come and win. The architect is in the house. Cal Bear, GR8, not a Cassianos fan. I'm so ready for this talking season to be over and get the plan. Numbskull News says bulletin board is worth a 10-point swing. Maybe this kid is really that good. Well, he's a good football player. I mean, if you look at his stats here, I'm posting the stats up here. He's a good football player. He's tough. 2023 at Boston College, 57.3% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, a 121 quarterback rating. Last year as a junior, 61.5, which is pretty good. You know, he's not that tall. His completion percentage, 61 is pretty good for him. 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 163 quarterback rating. Where he does his work is rushing. He ran over 1,100 yards in 2023. 13 touchdowns. Now last year he got nicked up. He did not run the ball good at all. So he's had, he had a pretty good career, pretty good Boston College run. He did. And I think Florida State wanted to go opposite. Gus Malzahn is the new offensive coordinator, right? Gus Malzahn likes a running quarterback. Thomas Cassianos gives Florida State more options. Watch the Boston College game against Florida State last year. Thomas Cassianos versus DJU. Thomas Cassianos is the better quarterback. He shouldn't have said what he said, though, in my opinion. Rod Nix, in Gus, I trust. Morris Simmons, Bam is going to be concerned with the running game, and the passing game is going to be great. Numbskull News, we're going to find out if the kid is durable. Bama is going to hit him late and often. And that's why it's a problem. I agree with that. There's going to be a couple of hits that normally Thomas Cassianos would not have received, but he's going to get it in this game. Cranky Tiger, no doubt I'll be pulling for Florida State, but the trash talk sure didn't help. Okay, let me see here. Phone lines are open. If you want to give a call, I'm checking to see if there's any breaking news. Devin Fitzgerald, the son of NFL legend Larry Fitzgerald, has committed to Notre Dame. Now, this is newsworthy because Notre Dame does not, they do great with every position, unit position, high school class, but they have a hard time getting the top flight receivers. Devin Fitzgerald has committed to Notre Dame. Chose to fight in Irish over Clemson, Stanford, and UCLA. And Larry Fitzgerald is the son of longtime Minneapolis Tribune writer, I think Larry Fitzgerald Sr., here in Minnesota. But anyways, Devin Fitzgerald committed to Notre Dame. That is a big win for the Irish. Big win for the Irish. MBM got to squeeze Notre Dame out of the playoffs. They do not deserve any extra consideration. Morris Simmons, Bama is breaking in the quarterback. And we'll see. Ty Simpson, I saw him in a spring game, I think it was 2 years ago. Hold on a second. We have not done our Bama spotlight yet. We will. But Morris Simmons is absolutely correct. Here is the stats on Ty Simpson. Now, Ty Simpson is more of a Kalen DeBoer quarterback. And remember, John Grubb is the new offensive coordinator at Alabama. He wasn't last year. He is this year. And Grubb and DeBoer, they were the ones that led Washington back to prominence. So Grubb is going to be the offensive coordinator. And if you watch DeBoer and Grubb at Washington, they want to chuck the ball downfield. They want to extend the playing field. They want to challenge the defense over the top. Now, Jalen Milroe was not going to do that for DeBoer last season. So, Simpson has that arm, that type of arm. I watched him in a spring game. I think maybe it was his redshirt freshman. I think it was 2 years ago. And he had a very poor day. So I'm probably being misled because I watched him have a very bad day. But yeah, Ty Simpson, more in the form of what Kalen DeBoer wants as a starting quarterback, but he's untested. Thank you, Numbskull News. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on in. Tony White is a great defensive coordinator. I will die on that hill. What he did at Syracuse, what I saw him do at Nebraska, the 3-3-5 defense, it's going to confuse the opponents. I agree with Rod Nix. Let's hope the phones work.
Call from
Wild Ute.
Wild Ute, I hope the phone system is working. I had some problems today. So, but anyways, let's go for it. Wild Ute, thanks for calling, my friend. What is going on? I did a Utah Utes breakdown. I did a spotlight. I think you're going to run over some teams this year with that offensive line, that quarterback. I watched Wayshawn, is it? Washington State.
Yes, Wayshawn Parker.
Wayshawn Parker. I watched his. He had a run. Washington State versus Texas Tech last year. Parker broke it to the outside, touchdown. He's got some speed. He's got some shiftiness. I think Utah is going to run people over, but maybe you did not talk. Maybe you called not to talk about the Utes. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
I did talk about the Utes.
Woo!
And I'm a little sick of the disrespect going on with the Utes. You know, last year was a tough year.
Yes.
Utah's not getting the love it deserves going into the season, Greg.
Yeah.
Utah's going to win the Big 12.
Woo!
Utah's going to win the Big 12.
Woo!
I mean, Greg, is that such a stretch, though? Is it really such a stretch?
Oh my!
Let's think about this. Like, if you look at the betting markets right now, Utah is right there with K-State and Arizona State to win the Big 12 today. The betting markets are saying that today.
Yes.
But nobody is really talking about it. McMurphy put out, he thinks that the Utes are going to win. Man, I'll tell you what, Dampier is a quarterback that Utah hasn't had since Tyler Huntley, and he's actually has more upside than Huntley, too. Like, you've got no idea how good this kid's going to be with Wayshawn Parker and his offensive line. Utah actually has, like, one of the most explosive offenses in the Big 12 and the best defense and the best coach. Like, I know that they lost a bunch of close games last year because of the Rising injury, but this is a completely different squad that's flying under the radar. I think Utah's going to punk Big 12 teams this year. Seriously.
Woo! Wild Ute coming on in here. He's throwing out. Now, I don't have my official predictions until August. I do like Arizona State. I do like Baylor. And I think Kansas State is a sneaky team, but Avery Johnson's got to take another step forward. But Utah, I get it. I understand it. Those two offensive linemen, the whole offensive line, the defense, the linebacker, I forget his name. Lander Barton,
and then they've got a kid that played a couple years ago, Liamani Demooney.
Yes.
He was a 4-star transfer, and tore his ACL before the season started last year.
Yeah.
This team is good.
I watched
real good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I watched tape of Dampier against Arizona last year. Because I wanted to see him go against another Big 12 team. Now, New Mexico's defense couldn't stop you or me last year, but Dampier really had no problems going against Arizona's defense. Now, I know that defense wasn't spectacular, but Dampier, let's just say Dampier's speed and agility and vision and balance, you could see it against Arizona just as much as you could see against other Mountain West conference opponents that New Mexico Lobos had. So I believe in Dampier's ability to move the chains. Now his passing, again, his arm strength's a little bit better than I think people, he can throw from different angles. And I think some of those interceptions were out of desperation because New Mexico Lobos could not stop anybody. But he's going to have to improve a little bit on that. But yeah, let's take a look at the schedule.
Let's take a look at the schedule. And if you looked at that New Mexico squad, Jason Beck came over. Jason Beck had one of the best offenses. So the offense coordinator came over. One of the top running backs from New Mexico came over. One of the receivers came over, one of the starting receivers, and Dampier. So you basically got the core of that New Mexico squad that was one of the best offenses in the country last year.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Mountain West. But, come on. It's not that big a step up. We see it all the time, Greg.
Yes. Yeah, we do.
Moving from a G7 level to a Big 12 level. Hey, if you've got the talent, you've got the talent. Dampier is quick enough. You know who he reminds me of? Johnny Manziel.
Well, I already used Johnny Manziel today when talking about Haas Haney, Oklahoma State's redshirt freshman. But I also brought up Devin Dampier in the same conversation. Yes, Devin Dampier.
He's slippery, man. He is. Yes. Just like Manziel, and he's a playmaker.
Yeah.
And Utah, frankly, Rising was a gamer. He was a leader. Rising had his strengths, but he is such a different player than Rising.
Yeah.
And plus with Andy Ludwig's offense that was tailored to the Pac-12 defenses, this is a new world. It's a completely revamped offense with a proven core, same offensive coordinator with the best O-line maybe in the nation, and one of the stud running backs is going to take the Big 12 by surprise. This U squad's going to score points, and the defense is going to hold. Let's talk about the schedule now. Pull that up.
I got it up.
All right, so read that up. I'm not watching right now.
No problem. I talked about this. I even talked about this game on Rock and Rant's Miami podcast. He invited me on, and I talked about the Utah UCLA game because that game's going to tell us so much. We got Nico I'm leaving on a jet plane versus Devin Dampier. UCLA. Whatever you want to think about the Bruins this year, they're not going to be able to. They're not going to score a whole lot of points. They're not. So I think this is a perfect road game for Utah to start the season against another Tommy 4 school, a team that's not going to put up a whole lot of points. Your offense isn't going to have to score every time you touch the ball. Run that ball, get it going. UCLA, they were pretty scrappy last year. Minnesota went down to Pasadena, beat UCLA down there, but it was a scrappy football game. It's probably going to be one this time. What is the line on that game?
Last time I checked, it was 3.
3?
I think Utah 3 points. Yeah. That might have changed. Yeah. This is going to be Nico's first game. He wasn't even there in spring ball.
Yes, yeah. So we're going to know a lot right off the bat. But Texas Tech Red Raiders, home game Saturday. Talk about it.
I'll tell you what, so sometimes when I go to the stadium, I am a season ticket holder, Greg, and I actually put on my Darth Vader helmet for some games. I'm serious about that too. And my son and I will go, and he's got a small Darth Vader helmet. And I will be wearing that during this game. It's a massive. This could be the game of the year in the Big 12. It's early, but this game is so massive. I think these two teams are the best two teams in the Big 12. Tech and Utah. Arizona State's there and everything else. But I really think K-State's close too. Those are the 4. Right there. And I think this game is going to be huge to determine who's going to the Big 12 championship. You have to have it. Really, the loser might be almost out of the race because of the tiebreakers.
I talked about this on a live show talking about Utah. I like where your bye weeks are because you have a bye week before you play Arizona State at home, and you have a bye week before you go on the road against Baylor, which I happen to think Baylor and Arizona State are going to be your two main competitors. And you have a bye week before you play both of those teams. So I think your bye week sets up very good for you during the season.
Extremely, and having K-State late at home, having Arizona State at home, and Texas Tech at home, and then this whole BYU situation without Retzloff.
Yeah.
I mean, that throws a huge wrench in that team's trajectory, right? Like, who knows what happens with that team. But it's just shaping up to be a really favorable year. This is what I can tell you. Like, when the Utes, when they're supposed to be quiet, good, historically, this is like the last 25 years. Like, they're sneaky, good, and everything. They're not like the clear-cut favorite, and everyone's not just singing their praises. They come out and they absolutely, like, punch up, right? They can punch up all the time. That's how they get you. But when they're the clear-cut favorite, like last year, and everyone's singing their praises and everything, they always falter. Always! And so this year, well, the betting market's like them, and some people are picking them. There's a lot of Big 12 fans that are completely just dogging the Utes still. And I think it's absolutely going to be punish time. There's going to be heck to pay, man. Because there's a lot of pissed off Utes, man.
I have said this on Twitter and on this live show. I'm surprised how confident the other Big 12 fans are that Utah is not, like, they're completely out of it. Yes, they did not have a good year last year. Cam Rising, that whole situation. But you can't, come on, it's 1 year. It's like everyone, I think people are overreacting to what happened last year at Utah. Completely overreacting.
Yeah, and like it's not just the overreaction; it's complete disrespect, right? And like, and some of it was warranted. And right, there's a lot of trash talk last year. It came back the year before with the realignment stuff, but like, there is not. Big 12 fans do not respect Utah. They don't. None of them do. Like, they dog Utah. They disrespect them all the time. And there's going to be so much bulletin board material. And if this team gets hot, they're going to rip teams, man. I'm telling you. Like Arizona State, when they're coming in, I think they're going to rip Arizona State. Texas Tech's going to be an absolute battle, but there's some teams that are going to get blitzed. And it's going to be a different vibe this year than last year. That's my take on it and stuff. And there's quiet confidence. There is anger, serious anger from the Ute fan base. And that's cool. I'll tell you what, if Utah rips off and they win the Big 12, you have no idea the level of trash talk that you will hear. Just imagine that, Greg. Like, if that's coming, they've got no idea, these Big 12 fans. If Utah actually gets this done, super optimistic. I will be there. I'll lose my voice every game. You know it.
All right, man. Utah.
Good to talk with you.
I appreciate the call, man. Wow, Ute.
Talk to you later.
Legendary caller. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Greg, you are putting up with this guy delivering fake news. I thought you were an honest guy. I'm an honest guy, but that's not news. That's his opinion. We're not delivering fake or correct news. He's just said his opinion. Just said his opinion. And I think they're going to be good this year. I don't have them in the Big 12 championship.
Call from
Tristan 5.
Tristan 5, the floor is yours. Let it rip, sir.
Hey, Greg, thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Hey, listen, I wanted to call in now the last couple of shows. Normally, I think you have a caller, Ryan Thomas, who I think he's normally just spot on, and I agree with most of what he says. He's very sharp. But I did want to disagree with him on one point. He, a couple of shows ago, was saying that he felt like Florida would be trying to block Florida State from getting into the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that adds up, Greg. I think that the funds that they get for research, I don't think come through conference affiliation. That's number one. That game that they play at the end of the year, that Florida State-Florida game, I think that both schools very much want that to be a protected conference game.
Okay.
And I think the same situation exists with Clemson and South Carolina. We've all heard how whenever Oklahoma plays Texas and they have that game at the neutral site at the fairgrounds, and a lot of business happens there. It's like an economic driver, right? That's not the only game where that's true, Greg. That Florida State game is an economic driver, as well as the Clemson South Carolina game. And these schools, they want that game to be protected, and they would like to be in the same conference together, in my opinion. And the gentleman's agreement rumor that's been floating around the internet forever, that's a misinterpretation of the facts. Commissioner Slive requested that none of the school presidents nominate an in-state rival when they were looking to expand, and ultimately when they were expanding with Texas A&M and Missouri. For that round of expansion, Slive wanted no in-state rivals because they needed to get into new states for the upcoming SEC network. And so that's the origin of the gentleman's agreement. And the reason he even made the request in the first place is because he knew that South Carolina and Florida would have been inclined to nominate their in-state rival. That's the reason for it. So I just wanted to...
I agree with you. And I am not a believer at all in schools holding a veto pen. I talked about that with the additions of Oregon and Washington. USC did not have a veto pen when that happened. They didn't even have a vote when that happened.
Right.
And that's the same thing. I don't believe that Florida has a veto pen or South Carolina. Now, I might disagree with you if the conversation goes to who does Florida want the most.
Right, now that's a different question.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And I haven't really discussed it much. I'm going to have a live show on this at some point, but I talked about the different factions of the Big Ten. It's more unclear in the SEC to me. But I would argue with people or I would suggest that University of Florida, Gainesville, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Texas, that they would be really supportive of the inclusion of North Carolina and Virginia. But again, my prediction is that they're all going to want Florida State and Clemson as well to grease the skids for everybody. But I think there is some interest. I think there's an interest among all SEC schools to get to Virginia and North Carolina. But in some particular schools, I think there is more of an interest, more of we want North Carolina, Virginia. I think North Carolina has some really good, some powerful voices on their side. And I think that's why the SEC forces are moving in. But overall, I do agree with you. I don't think, Florida does not have a veto pen. And I think their vote might be yes for all the reasons that you've mentioned. I think Florida State might have some other issues with some other schools, but I don't think it's
possible.
I don't think it's with Florida.
Right, and I will point out, Greg, as a data point in this, if you remember the COVID season from a few years ago, where a lot of the games got canceled. Yeah. One of the games that got canceled that season was Clemson at South Carolina. Yeah. And just go do your own research if you don't know about it. But, man, the officials at South Carolina blew a gasket over that. Mm-hmm. That is a big money game. Lots of business happens in the state. That game was sacrificed because of what was going on that year, and they were incensed. Okay? They want that game to be a protected in-conference game. Mm-hmm. And I'll just leave that topic at that. Yep. Hey, one other observation here. This is really interesting to me. I was looking at the 2026 recruiting rankings. Yeah. And if I'm interpreting this correctly, Greg, now I have to qualify what I'm about to say. I'm counting Notre Dame as a future Big Ten member. Okay, I think they eventually end up there. But I'm looking at USC is the number one team in recruiting. I mean, man, look at what they're doing. And then Georgia's 2, Texas A&M, Alabama, and then you got Notre Dame and Ohio State. So the top 6 is split evenly between the Big Ten and the SEC. And I'm seeing a shift to where because it's the P2 and now that we have NIL and so forth, I think going forward we're going to see approximately 50-50 split in recruiting between the P2.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe not quite 50-50, but pretty close. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is, we've been talking about this thing where the players get to hit the transfer portal anytime they want. They're doing it sometimes even multiple times within a single calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to come to a halt. Okay. Now, once we get some rules in place where they can't just move wherever they want, what that's going to do, Greg, the effect is that's going to cause them to spread out more and choose schools up front where they have a better chance of getting playing time.
Yeah, yep.
Because right now, if you're a freshman and you say, hey, I want to go to Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State, you can go there for a year. You might even get to be a red shirt. It doesn't hurt you. You might get to play and you might not, but if you don't, then you can always just transfer out and start somewhere else in your second season. And those players are going to have to reevaluate their selection process for where they want to go. And I think they're going to spread out into the P2 a lot more up front.
Yep, I agree with you. I'm agreeing with you a lot tonight. I wish I would disagree with you. It'd be more interesting conversation, but I agree with you, sir.
Well, it might be that I'm just stating things that are too obvious. So
yeah. No,
but
or we're probably both wrong. But anyways,
that's always a possibility.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for taking my call, Greg, and you keep up the good work.
You got it. I appreciate it. Great call, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Beautiful. Beautiful phone calls. Tristan, wow, Jude, everybody is all riled up. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. What are we, 8 Saturdays away? For week 1, we're less than that for week 0. Dublin, Ireland. Farmageddon, Iowa State, Kansas State, the Lions 2.5. I want to thank everybody who's joined us today for our live program, July 5th on a Saturday. We did the old spotlight, Oklahoma State. I got a lot of questions. I don't have a lot of answers. I think they got to have Haas Haney run for a lot of first downs this year because the wide receiver room is very questionable. Zane Flores is also in the quarterback battle, but I think it's going to be Haas Haney who gets it. Rodney Fields played a little bit as a true freshman last season, running back, backing up Ollie Gordon, but Rodney Fields going to be the guy. Josh Ford, tight end, 10 catches last year. He's the highest producing returner for the Oklahoma State Cowboys when it comes to the receiving core, and then the defense is led by Cam Smith, who's played 1 million games in Stillwater, the senior. He is going to be the leader at Oklahoma State. Then we talked about the Illinois Fighting Illini. A lot of optimism at Illinois. Lots of optimism at Illinois. And of course, the most, let's just say the elbows are being thrown between Alabama and Florida State. Thomas Cassiano said what he had to say. And now A.J. McCarron, the former Alabama quarterback, had to say what he had to say. Boy, this game's got bulletin material all over the place. Bama. The Seminoles and Roll Tide. The line is 12.5. 12.5. You better buckle up, Seminoles. Alabama is upset. Big game for Thomas Castellanos. First game as the Seminole quarterback. And I think maybe he spoke a little bit too much. We shall see. I want to thank everybody who's joined us. I want to thank those who gave us a donation to help us keep the lights on. John Till, Curtis, John MBM. Wow, MBM, thank you so very much. John Till, Curtis. Holy smokes, thank you for helping us keep the lights on. I want to thank everybody who's joined us. The comments in the comments section, the phone calls. We've got a live show coming up tomorrow. We gave you a sneak preview. The team that is going to be under the spotlight, the Fighting Illini of Illinois, Luke Altmaier. They're returning just about everybody. Not Josh McCray, not the running back that the Georgia Bulldogs got, but they're returning a whole lot. The Fighting Illini, there's optimism. Can they make the college football playoffs this year? We are going to break it all down and more. Everything that is going on in college football. Join us tomorrow. Before you leave, make sure you subscribe to our channel and have those notifications turned on, because we can come on live at any time. We might have to come on live 4 hours from now. If there is breaking news, we're going to cover it here at Peek Around the Corner. Subscribe, have those notifications turned on, smash the like button if you've liked our content, and we'll see you tomorrow. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.